Hello. In the last video I looked at it's called Contrast and Patterns by Observation, and I learned a lot about AI, in particular not diamond. So instead of looking at what is not, let's look at what is. In other words, let's look at the word diamond. Straight away, what I notice about this word, the first and last letter are both the letter D, which is the fourth letter of the alphabet. As I've said on many times on this video, the 4 is a door. What does the word actually mean? I'm going to give you two interpretations from what I can see of this. So if we break it down, you've got diamond. So it's the death of something. Monde is the French word for moon, or sorry, German word for moon. Might be both, actually. Off the top of my head, I really can't remember. But the moon is associated with the unknown. As I've said on a video quite a while ago, I think it was entitled The Perfect Crime. If there is no body to be found, there is no crime. So the die of the moon, diamond, is actually saying it's the death of doubt, the being able to step in the unknown, the death of fear, you could say. That's just one thing that I see in this. Now the D, the number 4, as I say on video, or have said on many videos before, 4 is a door. So there are two doors in the D at the start and at the end of this word diamond. I would suggest the door at the start is what we would call birth. The door at the other end is when you pass the threshold of death. So it's referring to the experience between those two events. So between those two letters D, number 4, we also have, if you look at it, it's D-I-A-M-O-N-D. So if you take away the D's, what you're left with between those two doorways is I am on. I thought that was very interesting, because one of the questions that is often asked is, what are we here for? Well, that is to become that diamond, the I am on. It's the recognition of the I am inside oneself and switching the lights on, as it were, inside oneself. Excuse me. Now, if we take the numeric values of each letter, and there are two calculations that can be done here. So we take the numeric values of these 7 letters. It's interesting, it's 7. You've got 4, 9, 1, 13, 15, 14, and 4. Now, if we add up the singular digits of this, so 13, 15, and 14, for example, would be 1 and 3, 1 and 5, and 1 and 4. So adding that sequence, 4 plus 9 plus 1 plus 1 plus 3 plus 1 plus 5 plus 1 plus 4 plus 4 comes to 33. 33 is we can reduce down to the number 6. If, however, we take these numbers 4 plus 9, plus 1, plus 13, plus 15, plus 14, plus 4, we get 60, which also gives you a 6. The difference between the 60 and the 33 is 27, which is a 9. So you get a 696 sequence coming out of this when you compare the two ways of adding these numbers together, taking them as single digits or as taking them as whole numbers, which gives you either 33 or 60. What else can we say about this? Well, the diamond. Let's consider this. You may well have seen various channels that have talked about the diamond industry, how there was this whole push of diamonds are forever, and it's a symbol of materialism, it's a symbol of material wealth. It was very much put forward that you should spend 2.5 times your monthly salary on a diamond ring if you are going to get married, for example. But that's the material version, and it is also shown that diamonds are not something rare at all. They're something quite common. You would find this if you go to a jeweller's and try and sell a diamond ring, for example. What it was paid for it and what you get back are going to be significantly different. But the word diamond, it's certainly an expression that is used in the UK. When somebody makes good on their word or does something on behalf of another, the recipient of that may say, "Oh, you're a diamond. You're a real diamond," that sort of expression. So you've got another clue there. Also, I consider there was the Marvel Comics superhero, which was an android called Vision. And right where the third eye would be was a diamond shape. So that's another little clue. So I've had a little play about with the diamond shape. Hopefully I can get this into a position so you can see it. Where are we? So here's your diamond, and then you've got these intersecting lines. I'll explain these. So if you take away the bottom half, you've got a pyramid, and there's the lower half there. Just getting my piece of paper that's just decided to blow away. So going back to this image, if I can get it into a good position, one that's hopefully clear for you to see. I've used this on this upper side of this diamond. I've used this 3-4 triangle. I've had a play with different shapes and things. So basically, a third of the way along these two diagonal lines that go from the sides to the top, we could put in lines that gives you this 3-4-5 triangle. And then basically, if you look at down with these intersecting points, you've basically got the 7 chakras being shown here. The symbol above, that was playing around with the letter I, the letter A, and the letter M, which is similar to this. Now with a diamond, or how diamonds are created in this physical realm, It is by pressure. So going back to this symbol again, I'll put it there. Hopefully that'll be much clearer now. A diamond under pressure. So in other words, if the pressure was on the linear, the left and right sides, and they were pushed inwards, would that not look something very similar to this Kabbalah tree of life? So the pressure upon the diamond in this reality which has the linear concept between birth and death, on a timeline, shall we say, the compression is within that timeline on the linear axis. And what is the pressure? If you have and you listen to your intuition and you are looking at that external world, you may feel that you are under pressure. So what I'm also suggesting here, going on what Archaic's channel has shown about the function of the Great Pyramid of Giza, which is also described as the monument of man, and I've said on several videos the Great Pyramid of Giza is an architectural representation of human physiology. I also consider the as above, so below, the macro and the micro to this. So if this monument to man, this Great Pyramid of Giza, represents the greater macro, as it were, the counterpart micro, I would suggest, is you and I. What are we here for? We are put under pressure by this external world. Listening to our intuition, you intuitively know that there is something not right about this reality. So therefore, that pressure is a necessary step that is going to lead you to turn yourself from a carbon life form into a diamond, you could say. Within that period between birth and death, those two doorways, I am on. Well, is that not basically the same message, or what is described about Kundalini rising? Now, this world is very much one of, in the external, is very much about reflection. Now, certainly when we look in the mirror, on the vertical axis, it doesn't lie. It is the same. If you look up, or if you do any movement in an upward or downward direction, that mirror will reflect that. But on the linear axis, it does the opposite. If you move to the left, what you see, you observe in that mirror, goes to the right. It does the opposite. So we can look at that pattern. So if the function of the Great Pyramid was to send a signal upwards, then the micro of the Great Pyramid that forms the diamond is the human being. To find that inner working, to find those internal chambers inside oneself, and you have that same Kundalini rising, the diamond, coincidentally, of course there are no coincidences, consists of 7 characters or 7 letters, and it has this numeric reduction, I've just dropped my pen, of 33. Oh, we're still running. I thought it had paused. Apologies for that. So 33 internally in the physical, although it's unseen, you have 33 vertebrae. So the Great Pyramid of Giza is the half of the diamond in the macro, physically expressed. Whilst if you find that internal light, we've just been joined by Demiana, which is very similar to the word diamond. I'm sure you'll agree. It's like the timing of everything, the divine timing is just incredible. So I thought I'd just share those observations with you of, rather than not diamonds, well, let's look at what is a diamond. The material world will basically give you a presentation that diamonds are something that are precious, that are expensive, but then you find out there are many of them. Well, what about the errants, the enlightened ones? I would say that is also being reflected, because you are the diamonds. You are the micro Great Pyramid of Giza. You are a sort of reflection of it, in which you have an internal function that shoots something upwards to the pineal gland along those 33 vertebrae. Now the second part of this just sort of landed right in the lap, as it were. I do wish this wind would drop a little bit, it's causing havoc. Now last night, and it just happened to be the perfect time, it's like, oh, new video, 4 minutes in. It's the one from Archaics where the guest was Howard Crowhurst. What he brought to this was fascinating. The word meter. He shows beyond any doubt that the meter is not a new measurement, that it is a sacred measurement that goes back a long way. But what immediately came to my mind is the use of the word meter as a measurement in distance, in angles and such like. That word is also shared in music, hence you have the metronome, which keeps time. As was discussed in this video between Jason and Howard, these monuments, these ancient monuments, were built and constructed to align not in the time that they were built, but they were metered, and they're in meter measurements. And they also reflect this 3-4-5 triangle, which I feel is expressed in the diamond. If you consider the schematic of the Great Pyramid of Giza, we could take that lower chamber or Queen's chamber and the upper or King's chamber to basically represent, if you did the cross-section lines, you're going to get basically a 3-4-5 triangle come out of that. So these ancient markers, and it's quite correct what Howard says, it needs no power supply. Their substantial size alone shows their longevity and the possibility to decode what can be found within these. My thoughts on why certain stones or certain types of stone are used, I would suggest, is down to molecular structure of the individual stones and the vibration or frequency that they would either conduct or emit from that. So I did the same numerological breakdown of the word meter. It doesn't matter whether you spell it M-E-T-E-R or M-E-T-R-E. But if you add up the individual numbers, so M is the first letter of meter, which is 13. So you can add it as 13, or you can add it as 1 plus 3. If you add it taking the individual digit calculation, you will end up with the number 25, which reduces to 7. If you do the whole number additions, that being 13 plus 5 plus 20 plus 5 plus 18, you get 61, which again reduces to 7. If you take the letter T, the 20th letter, and you discount the 0, your sum total is going to come to 43. So that is 3 ways of doing this calculation, which are all going to give you the number 7. Interestingly, the difference between the two calculations in the word diamond that gives you either 33 or 60, the difference is 27, which makes 9. The difference with the word meter in the values, it's either going to come out as 61, 43, or 25. So in all 3 instances, you have the reduction, which gives you the number 7. The difference between 61 and 25 is 36, which gives you a 9. The difference between 43 and 25 is 18, so 1 and 8 also make 9. In a subsequent comment, where I commented about some of this with this word meter, denoting it is measurement of both time and space, the French word maître, which means master, also comes out of this. And I can't help but noticing maître, M-A-I-T-R-E. So the first half of that is a reversed I am. You've got I-A-M as M-A-I. You've basically got I am, you've got Maya, and you've got aim. Well, the aim, I would have thought, was to go through this pressure and transform yourself internally as a diamond within this time period between those 2 letter Ds, those 2 doorways. So therefore, the words are giving you the answer to what are you here for? What are you meant to do? Well, sit in the discomfort so you feel the pressure. And that pressure changes the carbon into a diamond, which is something that goes on internally in your internal workings, your internal chambers, because you are a micro Great Pyramid of Giza. You are a living testimony. Now see also from this, those outer casing blocks, the 144,000 it's been calculated at, the getting a new garment in white, becoming part of that monument. This is all seems to be suggested from this. So I think that basically concludes everything. So I've given you an explanation of diamond, a breakdown of the word, a breakdown of what I see in the word, and the divine timing of getting this word meter and metering things out. But even, let's look at the word meter. If we split it in, what I see straight away is M-E, the me, and ter, or ter, which would indicate something to do with earth. I'm also reminded with the Anunnaki story, wasn't it something put into the created humans, the me? So me and ter gives you meter. So diamond and measurement of meter seems to be suggested here as well. So hopefully that will make sense. And I was just sort of, everything just clicked into place from this. It's like there's another missing part of the puzzle. So the diamond, if you think about, there's an expression about rough diamonds and how they can be polished. And if they're polished, then they are much better at reflecting and emitting a reflection outward. So think of that in the metaphorical sense, that you are becoming a diamond. A diamond, in a way, you could say, is like a crystalline structure, which is often alluded to when we get true bodies. We become crystalline. So in a way, you could say we become diamonds. And we're reflecting to each other. Was there anything else? Basically, the word diamond, just to recap, because we need that capstone, is basically telling you to kill the fear, to lose the fear. Within this time frame, this meter between birth and death, this experience that you're going through, that's all you're here for. You're just passing through this reality. And it's very much a central theme of this channel, because it is becoming more and more apparent. All that you are required to do is step into the unknown, become that diamond, let go of the fear. And I am experiencing this. So I can give personal testimony. I can feel something is unfolding. This also is backed up if you look at True Love Channel, in that there is one story being played out, and it is for you to find true love. Well, you'll do that by becoming the diamond, enjoying this journey of finding out the god or goddess that you truly are. Becoming that diamond that you truly are. So I think that's about it for this video. Do check the description. There are various things that I offer: tarot card readings, Reiki healing, one-to-one consultations. If you're struggling with anything, if you want to have a more individualized sort of look at your circumstances, so I can say to you, well, look, yes, there is a negative as you're seeing it, but I can also see the contrast of that. I can see the positive. It's looking for those pearls. This is what I'm doing. It's, let's open up that shell and let's see if there's a pearl inside that has grown. Or I can help cultivate and to help you grow that own pearl inside yourself, so you become that diamond. You become defined, you become polished, you have that ability to radiate out and reflect into this external world. So yeah, that is it for this video. It's definitely a stepping into the unknown for myself. From today, all that remains at this location is myself, and most of the time just two cats, because Damiana doesn't get on with Charis, so she keeps chasing him off. But he's resilient. he was a feral cat, so he does cope better in the outside world, but he knows where to come back to get fed, and I'm certainly not going to turn him away. This place would be a wonderful place if you want to get away, to just relax, be in nature. You can probably hear the bird song in the background. This is about as noisy most of the time that it gets here. It would give you a chance to try off-grid living. It would give you a chance to be in nature. So if that is something that appeals, then do get in contact for that as well. And as always, any donations are greatly appreciated, because they do help support this channel. They too help support and keep me going. I can't predict who will or how many donations I will get. That is a reflection for me to see that if I don't hold to the doubt and the fear, and I hold to the vision of the law of assumption, as Neville Goddard would explain it, this external reality will match that frequency and things will just come, and they really do. And I am extremely grateful for your kindness and generosity of all that have helped so far. You really have kept this channel going. You have kept me going. You have helped inspire me, sometimes from just one word, sometimes from a question. It all adds into the mix, and there is always something, a diamond to be found in all of these things. So yeah, I think that's gone on long enough now. We're almost coming to 33 minutes. It's like, is this coincidence that we're talking about a word that has 7 characters that has a value of 33 contained in it? I'm not going to drag it out to make it exactly 33, but it is pointing in that direction. So as always, unconditional love to you all.